It's what? Is it? What now? No, really? It's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. Yes, and that means just one thing. It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Hello, good morning. I hope you've got some fabulous plans for your Saturday. You might well be on your summer holes. Who knows? I hope the weather stays all right. It's been a bit intermittent. We've had a little bit of rain over the last few days. So fingers crossed that doesn't interrupt any of your plans for the weekend. And hopefully you are settling down. You've got your nice mug of tea, perhaps a little ginger nut biscuit or a croissant, if that's for your liking. And you're ready to enjoy another Monster Magic Saturday Show. So enough of my waffling. Let's get on with it. Yes, first up, we've got Chromo by Gonzalo Albanana. Yes, the great Albanana is back once again. And please, Gonzalo, if you are watching this, slow down. Please relax a little bit. Take a bit of time with your magic releases because you've got a creative mind for sure, and you really could add a lot of value to the magic world. But at the moment, you're churning out these half-baked ideas and these sort of incomplete projects, and it really, really is getting on my wick. Chromo is no different. Chromo is a terrific idea. The concept I really liked, sounded marvelous, yeah. So if you're not sure what Cromo is, it's a new way of doing the colour changing silks or the half dyed silks or the sucker silks, however you play it. Very popular with Pop Hayden. And if you're not familiar, basically you stick a silk of one colour, usually white, into your fist and you pull it out another colour, often red, and you change it from red to white. And you can change it back again. You can do a sucker changing idea where you pretend to teach people how it's done, but really you don't. And you also can do it with a half dyed silk, which was popular by Billy McGoom. And the best bit about this project is that Gonzalo lovingly goes through all of the history of the effect, which is fascinating and really enjoyable to listen to. And he also references all of the books and stuff like that. And that is what I think Gonzalo does. I think he goes through Tab Bell and all of the old literature, picks a trick and just tries to improve it and then releases something far too soon. I don't know. Maybe he's got a big mortgage he needs to pay off. So the colour changing silks and everything else is done with a dye tube, obviously. And this is a new design of a dye tube. That's basically what it is. Uses a different material and slightly different design. And that's not without merit. But here's the thing. When you get this, it comes not ready to use, essentially. You have to take a pair of scissors to it in order to be able to use it. And that causes me problems because I've only got a couple in. I don't really want to cut this up to really practice it. So please take whatever I say with a pinch of salt, because I haven't actually been able to really sort of perform with this because I don't want to cut it up, basically, which is what you have to do when you first get it. And if you get that wrong, you might be crying over your £45. So that's a bit of an issue to start off with. I don't know why they just didn't make it correctly. That just seems a very odd, sort of miss. Perhaps they just didn't know. Perhaps they didn't practice enough. Perhaps they didn't use it enough to find out exactly how it should be made at that point. The other thing is it comes with a little bit of an extra gimmick, a little add-on that you don't have on a normal dye tube. And for me, that just got in the way, really had no extra use, didn't seem to make the effect any cleaner from my perspective, and was just a little bit of a waste of time. So that was disappointment. So I'd cut that off as well. And then you're left with a sort of newly designed dye tube that uses a different material. And that is probably a really good idea if you want to use a very, very big silk. If you want to use a 24-inch silk, say, or something like that, then this might be worth having a look at if it doesn't fit in your standard dye tube very well. But otherwise, I can't see any advantage. It also sits quite high up in your fist, and it's black as well, so it does tend to stand out if you glimpse it. So you've got to watch your angles a lot more carefully. I don't like the way you've got to hold it in your hand in order for it to work. And again, this is another project where Gonzalo runs through routine ideas but never really performs them, and you just get this sense that this isn't something he has been performing at all, yet alone for years as a professional, really finding out how everything works and developing it and fine-tuning it and everything that you expect really for a product that's, you know, £45. The tutorial, as I say, is quite broad brush. He runs through the handlings in a quite laissez-faire way. He's not really performing them in any way. And there's no real handling finesses taught. There's no sort of those added bonuses that you feel come from someone who's very well experienced with this gimmick. And essentially the routines are all pretty much what you would do with a standard dye tube. And that's the real problem with this. For your £45, you don't really get anything that you can't already do with a dye tube. There's no extra phases. There's no real benefit of clean displays. It's not easier. I don't really understand how there's a feeling that this might in any way revolutionize the color changing silks. And in fact, if you listen to some of the claims, he says, you can use the silks for other effects. You don't have no clothing restrictions. It's good for parlor and stage. You can perform it anywhere. You can do all of that with the dye tube. I just don't get it. And you don't get any silks with it. It would be nice, even if it included a half dyed silk and a couple of matching coloured silks. That would add a bit of value and make you feel it was more of a complete project. Chromo is essentially a grain of an idea that's been released before it's fully blossomed. And for your 50 quid, you basically get an ill-conceived dye tube, and you're much better off just popping to Vernay, in my book, and just learning the color changing silks as it's taught. The color changing silks is a beautiful routine. It's very colorful. It fills the stage. You get attributed with far more skill than you're actually using. And if you watch someone like Frank DeVille on his Penguin lecture, you'll get a load of finesses, and it really isn't that hard to do with the standard dye tube. And you can get one of those for £5. So really, it's just a big miss. I am very sorry, Gonzalo. You seem like a really nice guy. Just take a little bit more time, please. And now it's time for something great. Yes, it's your Grandma's Miracle by TCC, based on the old Grandma's necklace, which has been around since the dawn of time, as I covered with Dan Harlan's Ritual. Who would have thought that Grandma's necklace would be making such a big comeback? And this is lovely. This really sort of adds a little bit of modern technology, really, I suppose, to what is essentially an old trick. And these are the laces that you get. If you don't know what Grandma's Miracle is, basically you thread some beads onto these two laces, so they rest in the middle. You then have someone hold the beads and you tie a little loop around the top and you give it a pull, and the laces come free and the beads are left in their hands. It is a brilliant piece of in the hands magic that's super easy to do, inexplicable to the spectators. And what is nice about this, these laces can be handed out and examined, and there's nothing really, I mean, it'd be hard push for anyone to really find anything unless they really knew what they were looking for. They don't look like shoelaces. They do look a little bit odd. They're kind of furry and everything else, but you know, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. No one's sort of they're more curious about them than suspicious, if that makes any sense. And these are the beads, which are, you get 3 of them obviously, and they're acrylic beads, which is great, so you can see the laces going through, which is really nice. This is a terrific little set, and the trick is well deserving of someone putting together something as beautiful as this. It blows people away where the spectators are left holding those 3 beads, and it almost looks visual the way the laces go through their fist. It is a strong piece of magic, and the magic happens in their hands, and it is very, very easy to do. It's a trick that I think hobbyists will certainly love doing, and I think it's going to go in a lot of professional people's walk around sets. It's by TCC. It is £30 or thereabouts, maybe a little bit over. The tutorial is fairly short and but it's a very straightforward trick, so it doesn't waste really any time. I think the tutorial is about 20 minutes long. To really teaches you everything you need to know, and it won't take you long playing with these props to get it absolutely down to a fine art. It's a terrific little product, yeah, and can't really say too much more about it apart from, you know, there's very rarely do you get something around that £30 mark that's not a card trick, is interesting objects to hand out and have examined, and is a really powerful piece of in their hands magic. So it's a wonderful routine. Who would have thought Grandma's necklace was back with such a bang? There you go, Grandma's necklace, TCC. And now you're not going to believe this. Yes, it's another release by the Crazy Jokers. Will they ever stop? But this isn't by Gonzalo Albanana. No, this is by Adrian Vega, and it is the opener. This is very hard to get hold of, by the way. Hush, hush, mum's the word. I've still got a couple left. The opener is essentially what it is. It's a card trick to open your stage or parlour act. What happens is you come on stage, you have a silk handkerchief, and you ask someone to name a number between 1 and 5. They do that, and then you do the old comedy gag by that's how many fingers you happen to be holding up. And that's gets a laugh, hopefully, and then you go, but that's not true. I've got a card here as well, and you move the handkerchief, and you've got a card that's, you know, been produced, come from nowhere. And they can then say, so you've named number 2, name a suit, and you open it up, and it is the card that they named.
Number between 1 and 5, whatever you want. You have 1?
Yes.
Number? What number do you want?
2.
2, are you sure? Look,
他
incredible.
让我选一个数字。
Number 2, nothing here, but here, exactly number 2. Wait, I am a professional. I am a professional. Come on, I can improve this. I can improve this. I can improve this. Doing something with cards. Okay, better with cards. Okay, my thing is the card. So my friend, I will ask you to think just in one suit. As you know, there are 52 different cards in the deck.
Yes.
Cards, clubs, diamond, or spade. Yeah.
Yes.
So think in one suit, whatever you want.
他让我选一个牌的种类，
Which one do you want?
heart，
Heart. Are you sure?
heart，
Or do you want to change? Change. I don't care. I am a professional. I am a professional.
他想让我改变，我不改。
对
What? Heart. Sure?
Yes，
Incredible. Why?
他说非常棒，为
Because
什
as I
么？
told you, there are 52 different cards in the deck, but only one single card in my hands.
It's the 2
And
of
you
hearts?
said number 2.
No.
And heart. I know this is crazy,
No!
but I love it. 2 of.
I really like this. It's had a bit of a bashing in the old cafe and so on, which I think is a little bit unfair. What you get for your money isn't a great deal. There's not that much in the box. You've basically got your gimmicks, 3 gimmicks cards, and a handkerchief. And the only real thing about the handkerchief is that it has to be opaque. So feel free to change that for one that's a little bit more little bit more exciting than this black number, which, you know, I most certainly would. And I just get a handkerchief from any shop. Like I say, you get the gimmicks, and these gimmicks are really well made. This is where they've put in a lot of time and effort to make these gimmicks. I'm assuming that they're handmade. They certainly sort of look and feel that way. So that is probably why the costs have gone up. It's probably quite time-consuming trick for them to make. What is really nice about this routine, and different to a lot of other routines that I've seen that uses essentially multiple outs, is that everything is in play right from the start. So once they've named their number between 1 and 5, you don't go into your pocket at all. As soon as the moment you've come on the stage, you have everything out in the open. There's no delving around, there's no exchanging or anything like that. And then you produce their card without going into your pocket, as if it has actually materialized within your hand. And I think that's a moment that gets dusted over a little bit. One of the issues is that you only get 3 gimmicks, and so they've got to name a number between 1 and 5. Adrian addresses his way of dealing with that, which I think is absolutely fine. I would play it off with a bit of a gag as well and get a laugh out of it, and then perhaps incorporate Adrian's suggestion as well. And really, if you play it well, if you act this out properly, you will give people the sensation that they could have chosen any card. They could have chosen from 52 rather than the very slim number you've actually given them. But it is also a light-hearted, comedic style routine, which is why I'm not too bothered about the number of outs, because it's fun, fun, fun. And then there's an amazing denouement, which I really, really like. And it is very, very clean. And I think it is a stronger piece of magic than perhaps comes across in the video, and than perhaps people are giving it credit for, because, you know, they're analysing it. If you did do it under lab conditions and replayed it a lot and so on, yes, it's not going to stand up to that level of scrutiny. But it is a real fun opener that packs small, plays big, that you can have a lot of fun with. And for me, it will reflect my personality, so that is why I really like it. If you are a serious mentalist, then yes, of course, it's not going to be for you. Yeah, and so the gimmicks are well made. The tutorial is very clear, and you do get a sense, unlike some other Crazy Joker releases, that Adrian has performed this a lot. It is perhaps a little toppy at $76.99, but the gimmicks are time consuming to make, and it is a really, really good routine in my opinion. So that's the opener by Adrian Vega. And now Bannon is back. Yes, I don't think he's ever gone away. He seems to be either re-releasing some old stuff with Penguin and Big Blind Media, or he's coming up with something new. This is Wild Wave, which comes in a beautiful plastic wallet, and you get all of the cards. And the nice thing about these cards are the backs. They are a nice mix of backs. The routine starts off with Nick Trost's 8-card Brainwave, which is a dynamite trick. It's on Easy to Master Card Miracles if you don't know it, by Michael Emmar. Grab that, or it's in Nick Trost's books. But it's a brilliant trick that is perfectly adaptable to many, many situations. And that is how this one starts. It starts with the classic Brainwave, where you show that all of these cards are red spot cards, and then it goes into a little bit of a poker deal where your participant ends up with a royal flush, which is terrific and cleans up the actual routine of the 8-card Brainwave, and make sure that everything's examinable at the end, rather than scooping the cards up and sticking them in your top pocket, which is what you have to do with Nick Trost's trick.
In my line of work, I visit a lot of casinos, okay? Now, I brought some cards along, but here's the thing. Every time I visit a different casino, I take one of the cards. Now, don't tell anybody, but you're not supposed to do that, right? But
Oh, you mean steel?
well, we're not going to say that. But yeah, I brought some along from 10 different casinos. And first thing I'm going to need you to do is exercise your psychic superpower and choose one of these, okay? And I got 10 cards, so give me a number between 1 and 10.
4.
4, absolutely. And here's what we're going to do. What was your number?
4.
4. Okay, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fair, right? 5 would have got that one. 10 would have got that one, right? Now, I will tell you that when I take the card from the casino, I try to take a red spot card, okay? Somewhere in the middle, because they're less likely to notice that those are missing, that they're missing, yeah, right? And because they're not very salient. But sometimes I take a black one, a high black one. Let's see. Oh, look. You got it.
That was that psychic power.
That was, yeah, exactly. Not bad. And so, since we're using casino cards, let's play a little game. Okay, that's the idea. We'll play a game of poker.
Okay.
And I want to mix these up, but I want to mix them up in a way that's not random, but a way that is controlled by your psychic superpower. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I can either deal a card. You can say deal, and I'll deal, right? Deal. Or you could say switch, in which case I'll switch the 2 cards. Okay? So deal or switch, right? Yeah, or switch. Got it?
Okay.
With me?
Yeah.
All right, so it's your turn. Go.
Deal. Switch.
Switch, so we'll switch those 2.
Switch.
Switch.
Deal.
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 Deal. And I only got 2 left, so.
Switch.
We'll switch those 2. All right, now these are mixed at your direction, not randomly, right? So let's see what happens. So you had the queen, and I have a 6. Now, I don't usually do this, but I'll give you a chance to switch if you want.
No, I play a bit of poker. I'll keep my queen, if that's all right.
Okay. We'll fill in the hands like that. And let's see. All right, I think you're going to wish that you had switched, because I have a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and an 8 and a 9. You play poker, right?
Yeah.
So you know that's a pretty good hand.
It's pretty tiny,
it beats most things, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what you got. Let's see, you picked the queen. I do not know how you did that, Simon, but a royal straight flush is going to beat my straight. In fact, it'll beat just about anything.
Like I say, the cards are very nice. I love the back designs and really good quality. The routine is essentially slightless, apart from perhaps the all-round subtlety that's used in the 8-card brainwave and the swindle switch deal. Oh, what's it called? Is it called swindle switch? Whatever. The Nick Dross, the Paul Curry fake shuffle from A Swindle of Sorts in his book Worlds Beyond, and that is one that magicians really often don't like to do, but generally speaking it will fly by most spectators. So actually Paul Curry has a phase where he proves that the switch shuffle does actually mix the cards. You can't do that with this trick, so you do have to do that sort of switching in a very nonchalant, matter-of-fact manner, and that way you will get away with it. If you do it too slowly or too suspiciously, people will begin to question it. John has a couple of nice touches about raising the cards and dropping them down and everything like that, but I would say most of the time, by far most of the time, it will fly by the spectators. And actually the different coloured backs actually sort of in some way seem to help disguise what is going on. It is a very simple routine. It is very easy to do. It's a nice packet trick. It's $21.99. But you do get these lovely cards, and the little packet trick wallet, and I think it's ideal. I'm not sure it would go into a professional person's walk around set like grandma's necklace would, but it is perfect for the hobbyist and it is fun to do. And like I say, the best bit is that you do end clean, which is one of those things that when you're doing it for friends and family as well, and they always get a bit grabby, don't they? You're absolutely golden. So yeah, that is Wild Wave by John Bannon. And now I'd just like to squeeze in a little bit of product promotion for Monster Magic. Yes, the Super Svengali. It's one of my bugbears was I do like the Svengali deck. Often just use it for forcing the card and so on. But I find that a lot of the decks that you got as standard were really badly cut, and you end up with sharp edges and, you know, telltale signs where the cards have been cut, and I really, really didn't like them. So I've put together these decks, which are actually printed short, or cut short at the factory, so they do handle very, very nicely. And there's less telltale signs for the layperson. It also comes with a brief tutorial, which is me just suggesting a few handlings, nothing much, but you know, I'll just point out that you can actually overhand shuffle a Svengali deck, which a lot of people don't do. And there's a nice little display with a little sort of bit of pressure fan where you can actually fan the cards out and show that you've got an ordinary deck, as it were. And what you're doing there is you're just hiding the force card to one side here. It's a little bit of an added extra, but yeah, essentially they are regular Svengali decks, but just cut that little bit better and produce that little bit better, which I like to think is the sort of motto of Monster Magic. And that's it for this week. Yes, I hope you finished your tea. Go and get yourself a second cuppa, because one is never enough, and that probably goes for the croissant as well. I hope to see you next week, and once again, have a lot of fun practicing the best hobby in the world. Bye bye.